Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today we're going to go into the final stage of the Progenitor's Arrival event, the Despair Time stage. Now, this stage has even more HP than the last one, but it is single target. And that makes this much easier than the other ones, quite honestly. He's got 1.2 million HP. Alright, for new players, that's going to be kind of scary. He's got fairly low attack and defense, though. He's weak to magic. He gives himself a lot of different buffs. Physical attack, single target attack, lowers your physical resistance, gives himself an ult. But more importantly, nerfs your ult gauge increase from orbs. Or no, sorry, nerfs your ult damage, just straight up. And then if you have an ult, you get a 3-turn protection seal. And that is important because of the special field effect, which is your orbs do not give you ult gauge. But your orbs do 200% additional damage. 200%. So, like, turn 1, if you have a 6-hand of whatever, those orbs are doing 200% more damage than what they should be doing normally. And additional orb damage buffs work on top of that. So, the new Scourge Wielder Lumi is 200% on oranges. You're going to be doing 400% damage now. 25% damage buffs, 50% orb damage buffs. Like, those are all going to stack alongside this 200. So, the fact that he has 1.2 million is not nearly as scary now, because you could buff your normal orbs to hell, and he will melt. And then you just don't get ult gauge. The only time you're going to see this protection seal and everything is if you ult rush with a different kind of skill, like Exalted Champions Guy, or the Shuna from the Danmachi collab, and you get like an Ice or a Ryu ult. If you have an ult gauge by doing that, he's gonna seal your protector skill, which is kind of unfortunate. But this stage is actually really easy to clear, even with much older teams. So that's what we're gonna do. Like, we're gonna use some new teams, but I kind of want to have some fun and use some teams that really don't see the light of day very often, and ones that we traditionally call pretty bad. So let's get started. Alright, so first off, the current meta, Scourge Wielder. The missions, I forgot to mention, are all the same as the previous stages. Everyone alive, all physical, all magic, 2 free-to-play characters in under 7 turns. You could do the stage in like 2 turns, if you really felt like. You can probably do it in 1 turn, quite honestly, if you get a good opening hand. But we're going to use the full Scourge Wielder meta. We've got the 2 free-to-play units in Kigali and Hero, but we've brought Lumi for that extra 200% orange damage. So now we're going to be doing ridiculous damage. And almost any team can do this stage, quite honestly. Like, realistically, it's not super difficult unless you started yesterday and you don't have a team in general. But if you have the Scourge Wielder team, you will clear this fight, even without Lumi and the hero. Like, Masayuki and Amizuka themselves will clear this fight because of the light buff and the physical buff and the chaos. So we converted with Kigali turn 1, we have 5 oranges. Because I have a lot of protection gauge, we're going to get access to Amizuka on turn 2. But you could, in theory, fish for a set starting hand that you could full convert. But now, okay, we're going to have Amizuka kick in, and we're going to have 60 points. So what are we going to do with that? We're going to rewind, chaos, and orange buff. Because I want to see, this was the test initially, that let's use the orange buff, let's change everything to oranges with Amizuka, and let's check the orb damage, and we can see that 200% field damage, 200% normal damage right there. So field and normal. So 400% extra damage on these orange orbs, which is wild. And then we've got the rewind from the hero, we've got the chaos damage, so we're doing 90k a hit. 90k a hit, and we still have a rewind to kick in, plus the chaos, which does 83,000, which isn't a lot, because it's only 1 stack of it, and it's not from, like, Lumi or something. But we have 135 points now, so let's use the Lumi buff, the physical damage, and then the extra chaos, and then, well, even more chaos now, because we have the points. And then we could either full convert here, or we could just send the blues, because we have 5. Really up to you. He's going to die. He's going to die this turn regardless, because now we're doing even more damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I think it takes like 1 orb? 2 orbs, sorry. Now we're doing 198,000 damage. So yeah, that was super duper difficult. Obviously, if you don't have Lumion the hero, you don't have the rewind, and you don't have the orange buff, but I promise you, even a much lower tier built team than this will clear this fight with very little difficulty. Alright, next, as far as the newer teams, is going to be the Danmachi collab. We've got Hestia, free-to-play Sokka and Isis, Shuna, Visions of Coleus, Violet, magic buff, and then Ice. You know, last time we've been using Ryu for AoEs, now we have Ice. Honestly, you probably don't even need Ice. You don't need nuking characters. You just need characters that can do damage on orbs, and if you have some other kind of very cheap attack buffing character or magic buffing character, if you don't have Violet or something, then, I mean, this team will do it. You've got stacking magic attack with Sokka, you've got the stacking element damage, or element attack with Hestia, and, like, you'll eventually kill. But turn 1, we've got a good hand to convert with Violet, so we'll bring Ice in, because she has 3 orbs here. And then we'll swap Isis for Violet, and then we'll just convert with Violet. We can hold off on using the ice buff for now, because it wouldn't do us very much. But even now, we're doing 21,000 a hit, 23,000 a hit, which is significant. So you don't need super strong nuking characters anymore for this stage particularly. You just need a team that has probably cheaper buffs that you could use multiple times, and you can combine with Hestia's 110 skill points, and then you could really nuke it down. So I guess we could either convert here, because it's a perfect Violet hand, or we could just bring the Danmachi units in and then start getting stacks with Hestia. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to give us extra element attack from the Hestia usages, and it'll give Ice a little bit extra wind attack as well, and magic attack. And at this point, next turn, you know, we could use the Ice 90-point skill. I mean, we could technically use it this turn, but she only has, well, she has 3 orbs. I mean, we could use it, but let's go ahead and just keep on stacking. We're going to hold on to that Hestia, and we'll get a double next turn. And honestly, we probably could have almost killed him if we had used Ice's personal buff. It's not like we were short on points, so I was prolonging this fight unnecessarily, and at a cost of I get no ice orbs on turn 3. So a bit unfortunate. But let's do another stack of magic, another stack of wind attack, which only applies to ice, unfortunately. Let's do the multi-skill. Let's use Hestia, and we'll send another full hand, and maybe we'll get some better orbs next turn on 4. But even here, we're not using traditionally strong characters. But with the additional magic and the additional element stacks, we start to do decent damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now we're doing 33, 44,000 damage, and he's under half HP now. And we haven't really done all that much. We haven't really used any big-time strong buffs. But we can definitely do that here now. We have 1 Ice Orb, and we've got a double Hestia, so let's do the Ice buff, let's do the multi-skill. We could take out Sokka for Violet and use her 100% magic buff, which is going to be enhanced because of the aerial stance that Ice has, so it's going to do 140% magic? Is it 1.4% on the aerial? I can't remember. But let's do that. And notice that we are not getting any alt gauge, but we're also not getting protection sealed. That's good. And now he's going to die. A horrible, painful death with Ice, because she's got the multi-hit as well. So, boom. And our crit pierce did 400,000 damage right there. So, I mean, it is kind of a joke this stage. It's a giveaway. I think the second stage was harder than this stage. Alright, let's use some older teams now for funsy onesies. And first off, we have the Goddess of Destiny meta, follow-up orbs. So we've got Murin, free-to-play Aaron, free-to-play Trya, and then my girl Sokka, Rain, and Bride Shuna. So the follow-up orbs are, you know, they don't count as alts. Cool. And we have lots of cheap buffs. Murin is giving us guaranteed crit. We have attack from Sokka, magic attack from Rain, and Shuna has a light buff and crit damage. So we can do this fairly easily. And Shuna is also a triple orb stealer. And it's all magic, so we've got that mission done and 2 free-to-play characters. So turn 1, you could either fish for like a good converting hand, or you could try and fish for a 3-hand steal with Shuna. You're not going to be in danger of getting an ult and getting your protection gauge sealed, because you don't get any or any alt gauge from these orbs. So we're just going to yoink all of them with Shuna, and we'll move on from there. We want to get Mirren activated because she's going to give us extra skill points and give us the guaranteed crits and the light follow-up orbs on whenever you hit. So 46k on that. It's not great damage. This hand, not a lot of Shuna orbs, but we are going to get a little bit extra here because of our traits. And then we could use the rain buff, which is 50% to greens. And you could use Diablo, Divine General, if you want. That would cost nothing. But then we'll bring Triya in for rain, and we could use both of her converts and get a full 6-hand send. So boom, boom. Self-convert first, and then the special convert afterwards. We'll take Triya out, leave her in the back, because that's where she's best. Or we could take Shuna out and just hope for a good orb steal next turn. But now we'll use Mirren, who's going to give everyone guaranteed crits, and give us the follow-up orbs and the extra skill point increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're now doing 16, 20k, 29,000 damage on an orb, and then we have 6 more orbs to do extra damage to him, which essentially is just chip damage. But it's extra stuff. And now we've got 3 orbs for Soka, so we're going to be looking pretty good. We can either yoink them or convert again. I mean, we could do either. Let's going to convert again. So special convert, or self-convert for Triya, get that blue, and then leave those 2. Still have 60 points left over. We have a full hand, so we don't need to steal anymore. We could just use 2 of the buffs that we have on this team. So we'll take out Aaron, and we will use the Shuna buff and the Rain buff, because those are most impactful versus the normal attack buff for Soka. And if she was Skill Fuse, Soka would do Weakness Strike, but we're type neutral, so that doesn't matter. But let's get Shuna guaranteed crits, and now we're doing how much damage? 42,000 a hit for Soka, 44, 85,000 damage from Shuna, because she's got the light and the crit damage. And, oh, we hit synergy, and then the follow-up orbs do quite a bit more. And now on turn 4, like, he's dead. So we have 150 points. Now we can use the attack buff as well, and the future hand, which is going to give us 25% additional damage on green orbs, which we don't have a lot of greens, but still. We don't need to do much of anything except send the 4 Shunas, and he's going to die. And this is the 3rd EX team to ever come out back in 2022. Like, if this team can do it, any team after that can do this just as easily. Alright, continuing the theme of follow-up orbs, we now have the Tempest Elite team, which came out in 2024, and this team was also not great. Most follow-up orb teams just aren't good, but this team especially kind of sucked. So we've got Trainee, who's now doing fire follow-up orbs, but also alt rushes Rimuru. And this is where we can see that protection seal kick in, because she can alt rush Rimuru, or whoever has the highest attack. But once you get an alt, you're going to get sealed. So I wanted to use this team specifically to showcase that outcome. In case you're thinking of using an alt rushing team, an unnatural version of it, then you can still win. It's just a bit more difficult, and we made this intentionally difficult just to prove a point. So 1, 2, let's bring in Xion as well. I mean, we've got the 2 free-to-play units, Gobta and Xion, all physical. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, we're still doing decent damage, but we have access to Trainee, who's going to give us the fire follow-up orbs, which is cool. Alt rush and the extra skill points on blues, but that's not really what we want here, and that's also not a great hand. So we're gonna bring Shuna in to full convert here. Boom. We'll do a stack of the burn because why not? The weakness strike doesn't matter, but the burn damage will, because we're about to send 6 fire follow-up orbs, and it will add up slowly but surely. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But Rimuru has an alt now, so that on turn 3 we're gonna see that Trainee is gonna get sealed, and we can't use her for 2 more turns. Very unfortunate, but there's that, and then the 44k burn. Like, it's not a lot, but here we go. And there's the protection seal. Boom. You can't use it because we have an alt gauge. So don't use an alt rushing team. Use a strong burst team that has lots of cheap buffs that you can do a lot of damage without having to rely on an alt rush, because this is not a traditional nuking stage. So we'll do the attack, the burn, and the pierce on this turn. And yeah, that's about it. So we'll just send these 4 orbs. So Rimuru does 64k on a pierce, and then 1, 2, 3. But we don't have any more fire orbs to follow up, so our burn damage is kind of low. And we're going to be sealed for 1 more turn on our protector. But Shuna is kind of close to dying, so let's get her out after we convert, and we get a full hand again. And that way on turn 5, we could kill him with a lot of the buffs we have available, if not dying here. Which, you know, he's not going to die here. So, yeah, that's an example. I mean, this team still wins. It's an awful team. It's not built for this stage at all, because you don't want to alt rush, so it means you don't really want to use your protector that much. Kind of defeats the purpose. But let's bring Shuna in, let's convert again, and then we could use Rimuru's attack buff. The alt damage doesn't matter because we're not alting, but he's got 3 orbs that can get extra attack. Let's use Trainee to get the fire follow-ups, and that should be enough to win the fight on turn 5, even though this was much more painful than it needed to be. We'll use double Trainee, give ourselves a double, or EX alt, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and what, 29k, 48k, much better damage right there. And then we have the follow-ups, which are going to kill him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 5. So yeah, even a team that's not even good for this stage can still get the job done if you try hard enough. And finally, we have the Exalted Champions 2.5 anniversary team. Just because, you know, people, if they're older players, they have this team. Maybe they came back for something, but this team, with the synergy and the element damage from Velzard and the attack buff from Rimuru, definitely is also able to get the job done. Full magic team. We have 2 free-to-play characters in Triya and Veldora, so it's clearing those missions. Very easy to do. Alright, so turn 1, I mean, we've got 4 Veldora orbs. We've got a lot of protection gauge in the back, so we could probably just send those 4 and be okay. You could reset for a good hand, or, you know, you don't have to bring Milim. You could bring the Masked Hero, and you could steal. And her AoE skill also gives extra orb damage, which would stack alongside the 200% that we're getting just naturally. But here, we've got some skills to do. You could convert here if you don't have access to Velzard because you don't have the protection traits. That's why we brought Triya and Veldora, just in case you needed to convert. But Veldora can come in for Rimuru. We could use his green buff here, and then we could do the synergy. Or we could convert with him instead, you know, showing an example if you don't have access to Velzard, but since we do, we're just going to use her anyways, just to help us do extra damage. The Drago effect is going to enhance the synergy buff that we have and the element damage, so now we're doing 45, 75k a hit, and Milim on her 200% does, what, 180? 172. Okay, cool. And now we've got pretty much maximum points. So, let's just do it again. But let's swap Veldora for Rimuru to get the attack buff added in, plus synergy, plus Velzard, and that means that we now have 3 major buffs that are all being enhanced by Drago. Milim's personal buff doesn't matter here because it's weakness, strike, and alt damage, neither of which are going to affect the stage. And turn 3, they're all dead. Or, well, he's dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're doing 100k a hit. Guy's doing 120, Milim's doing 125. And there we go. So there are 5 teams that are, you know, 2 of them are newer, 3 of them are older. Anything in between, quite honestly, can get this stage done. If you have the Tails Clap, if you have Freerin, if you have Warrior's Mind, the Summer Memories, even Festive fucking Memories can do this fight, probably. So this really shouldn't be as brain-racking as it looks if you have some semblance of an okay team that has cheap buffs that you can use multiple times, and an okay protector that doesn't alt rush you. But, you know, there are quite a few teams that you can use. Let me know in the comments what team you use to clear this. But that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.